Holocaust Memories Never Forget. Section 2, Ahead of the Darkness.
Part 5.
From the Enabling Act, March 1933, until Kristallnacht, the 9th and 10th of November, 1938.
Once Adolf Hitler was confident that his radical anti-Semitic agenda was fully supported by the leaders of the Nazi Party as well as the vast majority of German citizens, he wasted little time in speeding up the Aryanization of the country. Following the full ratification of the Nuremberg Laws, a host of new regulations and restrictions were promulgated, all of which had the goal of completely removing all Jewish presence in Germany and confiscating Jewish-owned businesses, property, and cash assets. Between 1936 and 1939, some historians have estimated that over 400 new laws were passed, both nationally and locally. Among them, Jews were prohibited from working in most areas of finance, including anything related to taxes, prohibited from being teachers in any government school, prohibited from working as veterinarians, prohibited from selling weapons, ammunition, or owning a firearms store, prohibited from owning carrier pigeons, prohibited from entering any health spa or vacationing in a resort, prohibited from using any first name other than Israel for men or Sarah for women. Jewish doctors were prohibited from treating non-Jews, and all Jewish passports were stamped with a red J. In addition, Jews were prohibited from having a driver's license, owning a motorized vehicle, or traveling freely around Germany, prohibited from attending universities or working as a university professor, and prohibited from working side by side with an Aryan. They were also required to provide a list of all property they owned worth more than 5,000 Reichmarks and had to turn over all precious metals or other related valuables to the government. Although it wasn't impossible for Jews to leave Germany after Hitler took power, it was exceedingly difficult. For obvious reasons, those with significant financial assets were given priority by the Nazis. After the government charged them exorbitant fees before being allowed to leave the country, Jews were forced to turn over the vast majority of their wealth, including cash, jewelry, and any businesses they owned. Slightly more than a third of the nearly 300,000 Jews who applied to immigrate were successful. Of those, a large percentage ended up in other European nations such as France, Belgium, and the Netherlands, many of whom later perished in the Holocaust after Hitler invaded Western Europe. Ironically, there was one rare exception to the Nazis' practice of confiscating all of a Jew's property in exchange for the right to immigrate. On 25 August 1933, Hitler and the Zionist leadership in Palestine signed the Havara Agreement, a complicated system which allowed eligible Jews to use some of their assets to buy German goods, after which they were allowed to travel to the Holy Land with the products they had purchased. Many of the estimated 60,000 Jews who escaped to Palestine were highly trained professionals, such as lawyers, doctors, veterinarians, and engineers, and many of them used their considerable skills and knowledge to improve life for those living in what would eventually become the State of Israel.